If you are a real estate agent right now and you're trying to use AI, there is a good chance that you are not using it in an efficient way.
Now, most people are using AI like a chatbot or a copywriter, but they open ChatGPT, they open Claude, they open Gemini because they know they should have the best, and they're writing a text message and they're getting a follow-up message that's going to be like, hey, write this email, but that's not a real agentic AI system, and that's missing the huge opportunity that comes with having agentic systems.
Exactly. Therefore, today, we're going to talk about how you can use this agentic AI, understand what's going on, decided actually what you should really do next for your business, what action you need to take, and save what's going to happen and keep going until that lead is booked in your calendar. That's what we wanted to talk about. We wanted to get hands off of everything and make sure everything is automated for you to the complete organic way to get a client and help them to buy or sell real estate.
Okay, so we are talking about agentic AI. My husband went into his little forte, which is amazing, but really if we're a real estate agent, the biggest thing is lead generation. It's not just that, it's what happens next. And that is really where agentic AI shines. And the strongest recommendation is to do research. It's speed to lead. We all know that. Speed to lead. We have to be able to answer 30 seconds from now. Lead comes in. The strongest system is going to respond right away. The systems are going to work automatically. And if your response is delayed, it kills the deal. Let's be honest. I recently found out in Facebook I had a message in spam where somebody gave me their phone number and I called it late. My husband called it late and they were already under contract for a house with a different agent. It was in my spam. That sucks, right? So basically that's the old way. Now that I have agentic AI, and that's how I discovered it, my agentic AI, now that kind of stuff won't happen again. We're building a new system with smart ways and smart decisions. And the follow-up is simply going to be not just rule-based automation, but agentic automation. And there is a difference because rules follow fixed paths.
Exactly. Therefore, agentic system that we wanted to talk, decide which action you really need to take based on the context, and is also consider the shift that's happening in your market. And so in this video, we wanted to walk you through a cloud and agentic AI and to see how you can take your business to a next level.
And it's not about having the best chatbot anymore, and it's not about having a better drip campaign. You actually want to build a system. We're going to use N8N, we're going to use your cloud as the brain, and your system's going to be vibe coded, see all the fancy words that I'm using, so your brain does most of the real work, and you don't actually have to have virtual assistants anymore because now your system is working. And the easiest way to start to put your head around this is to really start thinking about the loops, right? So if normally how it worked before, lead comes in, they get this text message. A letter day, it gets another text message. A couple days, you get an email. This is the line, it's fixed. But if the person does something unexpected, they say something stupid or they say something amazing, it's still, the system has to be able to understand, and you have to know what it is. And the system is not fixed anymore. If the system doesn't really understand what the response was, then it's going to continue the fixed line. But with agentic AI, it's going to look at the loop, and it's going to be different.
Therefore, the loop still exists, as we said, even in a traditional way.
Not in a traditional, not.
But in a sense, the loop is going to exist. But the difference is now when the lead comes with agentic AI, basically the system reads the lead and it checks the context, and then it decides what is the best next action needed to be taken. And it takes that action for you and it saves exactly what happened. And then later when the lead replies or does nothing, the system pretty much runs the loop again. And this is a real thing that is going to help your business, because you can be hands off the business and make sure that you get to the point that is going to be booked in your calendar.
Now I'm going to run through a little bit more like nuanced detail because it's really, I don't know how else to hand off. But the first thing is you want to have cloud and you want to have N8N, right? N8N is amazing. You're never going to actually have to touch it. In fact, I would recommend you have cloud, checking your N8N every single day. to fix whatever's there. But basically, besides that, you want to have a workflow that handles new leads. You want a second workflow that deals with all responses to leads, and you want to have a third workflow that understands and knows how to reply to that lead. And it's not just enough to have one system. And then basically, all the systems are going to work from a brain. So no matter where that lead comes from, like you could get it from Facebook, maybe it's a paid lead, your referral lead. Once that lead is immediately there, N8N understands, and it's going to really take the messy data of this, Bob at 123 Main Street, and it's really going to put it into data to where it can all understand. And if you don't have to kind of have it do that, that's basically the first step. It needs to break up into data what it is.
Exactly. Now, this is where the people mess up. They take all the messy raw data and throw it into the AI. And then that is very lazy because it makes the system even worse. It's not gonna work in your favor. The first job in N8N is really to clean that leads into a standard.
You're never gonna touch N8N. Cloud's gonna do it, but you have to understand it's there.
Exactly. And one standard object, and in other words, every lead, no matter where it comes exactly from, should be turned into the same format before any agent sees it.
And that's including your agentic agent, so the next one's down the line. So it's going to take the lead, get their name, where the source was, the lead type, buyer, seller, where they're looking, what city, and maybe they know something like they want to buy a house under $500,000. Now this becomes the important step because now the AI is cleaning the input, so it's getting you structure and data. And there is a way you can actually take AI, and then the second step can be like digging for more data, and that's always a great thing, but that's going to be a different video. But basically the brains of the system starts from getting the data, and that's where your brain is going to start coming in. So you're not creating a chatbot, you're understanding, you're not saying that respond to everybody in these fun ways. You're writing a system that defines who people are, understands the tools that they might need. Maybe they're first time homeowner, maybe they're a move up buyer, maybe they're retiring, but it's going to be able to understand these things and put it into a system. And it's going to basically, you're going to vibe code this, and you're basically going to stop talking to it with the Socratic method. We're not going to read my whole prompt. I'm happy to send it to you if you want to talk to me about the prompt, but basically you want it to be a lead conversion agent. And you're going to make sure the vibe coding when you're getting there is understanding the difference, because you're not creating each chat, you're not creating each response, you're making sure the agent knows what to do. You're not asking to write a text, it's going to decide what it wants to do based on the data. This is why it's agentic.
Exactly. Therefore, now, once the agent makes that decision, that N8 that we talked through this video a lot needs to do something with it. So the agent output should be structured. It should say action, message, reason, and maybe the next status. And what is the example that we can say?
Basically, maybe it's going to send a text like, hey, John, saw you're looking for a house under 500K in this area. Are you looking to move soon? You're just starting your search. Really is trying to get more data, which is what you would be doing anyway.
Well, you're a prospect.
Right. Maybe you're out there. So the N8N is going to read that data. Then if it gets an answer, it's going to put that into the system. It's going to put into the system your bold trail, what it does. It's going to update your MRM. It's going to say what you can do next. It's going for either you or for itself to do later. And it's going to notify you of any systems that really, really need updating. So if this person just said, I need to buy in the next month, you're getting an alert. Because if they got that response, even if you didn't see in your bold trail, because that's what we use, bold trail, even if you didn't see it on your text messages when you're out showing houses, you should be getting an email, because now you're getting information. At least mine is set up for email. So now you're getting information, sit to your thing, that this person's looking for a home, so call John right now.
Exactly. Basically, the model chooses and N8N is execute everything that
Cloud's
we talk
the
about.
brain.
And the cloud, of course, is the brain. And this is exactly why N8N is a right choice here. It's not just automating one task that we were talking about, it's acting like a wiring, like a brain, nerve system, and basically get the feedback and feed it to that and tells you what is the next step or action is that need to be taken.
Okay, cool. So sorry, I got a text messages. So my system will tell me. Basically, the hardest part is going to be the memory problem. Because honestly, cloud without a memory is like an 85-year-old because you went to the next task and they forgot what they were supposed to do. So you really have to make sure you're not talking to chatty generation. You're having a way to have a memory in place. Otherwise, it's going to forget everything and just rewrite everything every single time. And we don't want that. So basically, you need to make sure you're making sure you have a memory. The memory can live in several places. It can live in your database. It can live on your computer. It can live in your CRM notes, but the storage really doesn't matter other than it is storing the data and it's storing the memory, because the principle is every time the system acts, it has a structure and it has the memory, so it doesn't sound like an 85-year-old person every single time like, oh, what was I supposed to do? Or rewriting the code every single time, which I can say was happening to me until I figured out how to fix the memory. So basically, your memory is going to understand and then read the logs and understand the text that were sent, the responses that were received, what is hot, what is medium, what is cold, what to do with the follow-up, and it's going to follow up better than you would, because let's be honest, you're a human being and you're busy and you're working with your John, right? Because he was 1 month. But then maybe Sally was browsing, but she's 6 months later than deciding. You would have forgotten about Sally. But your agentic agent didn't forget about her and is still keeping up that conversation with her when she's ready 6 months, 4 years later. It's going to now be able to say, hey, now you can call Sally. And you're never going to remember her, but you can read in your CRM and call her at that point because your agentic agent didn't
which
forget.
happens to me because I'm constantly prospecting. Is still with it, even CRM, that's the hard things to do, because people say I'm in a month or two, and then you caught up with other kind of tasks that you have, then you forget, and basically that person goes and work with another real estate agent.
And the third thing I want to talk about is really just making sure it's not a rigid workflow and it's really agentic in its nature. So it's not just waiting for keywords. It's not it is actually evaluating the situation. Maybe someone doesn't write English very well. It happens, but it has to be able to evaluate it. And this is where most follow-up systems are going to fail. Most, including my own in the past, including my own in many ways, so because I haven't finished fixing everything, but they run on a schedule. Maybe it's every hour, maybe it's every couple days, maybe it's every month, and they've not responded, but they're still in the database. So instead of firing off cannon messages, Agentic Agent is going to say, here's what we can do now, and it's going to do it for us. So, and you can set it to where you don't like harass it, don't make it harassing people. We don't want to send 500 messages in a day, but you want to follow rules, but and it has rules in there. But basically, you want to make sure that it is following and it can understand the situation and what we should do. So you can set rules, but it's also going to be able to follow up as a human being, because maybe Sally said, I have to fix my bathroom, and now it can say, hey, how's that bathroom remodel going? And before she sells and buy another. I mean, it just depends. So it can actually understand what's going on with people, even if you haven't been handed off, and still talk in that way. And that's the lovely thing about Agentic AI, because it is acting like you because it has your brain, but it's also going to there. And then if maybe someone didn't tell you about everything.
Exactly. Basically, as we know, this way you are not in the rigid way. The system is not fixed. And basically the system gets the feedback, as my wife said, as a brain, and know what you should do even you are not following up on that leads.
The goal is not for the AI to pretend to be you forever. The goal is to make sure it's handling the repetitive nature of our job and pulling you in at the right time. And you have to make sure it knows the handoff rules. So if somebody's showing intent, they're asking for showing, this is something that should be immediately going right to you. They want to tour a home, boom, that should be you right there. But the system is notifying you and summarizing the conversation, and maybe you're going to set it up as a text. I'm okay with an email because Bold Trail does send a text, but I never really, if I'm busy, I don't read it, but I'm then going to back up with the email because I'm going to read those. So you have to understand that summary is huge, because now it's going to say all of this information about it all together and what the next steps that it's recommending that you call. Maybe they say call today, maybe this is call tomorrow at 3:30. Who you don't know. But if you can and the system can look at your schedule too. So it's all built based around you. And that's the lovely thing about Agentic AI. And I've talked a lot. I can't wait to talk to you about it in person, because this is things we talk about in Prosperity Agent all the time. And you get us, you get our entire upline, which is amazing with social media and everything you can do with social media. So you get so much information when you join us at EXP.
And then don't forget to book a call with us in the description below with Alan Victoria Pinder with EXP Realty. We'd love to help you level up your business, real estate business, and we are here for you.